Welcome back to episode 3 of restoring this abandoned classic wooden speedboat. In this episode, we'll be replacing the keel, of which the middle section has rotten away. In episode 2, I replaced the rib that runs from side to side, and the keel will be attaching to this. So the first thing I decided to do is create an additional support for the keel. I took all the relevant measurements and then proceeded to transfer these onto my fresh 15mm piece of plywood. And after that I took my jigsaw and simply cut it out. I then proceeded to flush cut the rotten piece of keel using my Japanese pool saw, which I specifically bought for this project. Next, I used a piece of cardboard to measure the length of the keel and also the height difference between the left and the right side of the keel, so I could transfer these onto my plywood and cut out the correct shape. I actually doubled this up because the original keel was 30 mils, and then I used my belt sander to ensure both pieces were exactly flush. I also created a diagonal edge to this keel so that it will be easier to attach the plywood to. Next, I took a piece of aluminum that would serve as a brace between the old keel and the new keel to make sure that they're solidly attached to each other. I took an angle grinder and I removed any old rusty screws that used to hold the old keel in place to make room for the new one. I then cut a slit on both sides of the support of the keel to make room for the brace I just created, so that the new and the old keel would be properly attached to one another. I used stainless steel fasteners to connect these. It was then time to sand everything down, so I removed any old pieces of plywood, old residue from the glue that was there, and then cleaned everything up with some soapy water to make sure I had a clean surface for the glue up. This is always a stressful moment, but since I had all the fasteners to align the pieces of wood I was gluing in, it was relatively easy. I used a polyurethane glue, which is rated D4 and suitable for underwater use, so I would be sure that the glue would hold up even if there would be some water in the boat. And there you have it, everything glued up and fastened into place. So that's one rib and the keel done. So next up is the rib that's in the back of the boat. So join me for that one.